1, 2, 3 tracks
Basically
align.
killed
1,
my
2, 3
on-stage
tracks
career. Wait,
align.
there are no hecklers.
All right, guys.
And I don't
They're
have to
already
memorize
going right
lines.
now.
I don't have to worry about when I forget my
Man.
lines. This
Oh
is
man,
great.
I'm gonna just turn him down so I can talk to y'all right quick. So, this is my friend Elpaka Liz. Well, Elpaka, she goes by, but we call her Liz. She is doing her podcast, and she has Neil Kaplan on it, the voice actor for Madara, Obito. This guy from Bleach, this old dude from Bleach. A lot of people don't know him, and also Optimus Prime. That is crazy. I didn't know it would be live. I thought it was supposed to be live right now. So yeah, y'all. Let's see what happens, man. I'm already like late to the party. I didn't know they were just starting like this. But anyways, yeah, let's turn it up.
Yaki Doodle, and he was a little tiny duck.
Can I pause this? Oh, I
Friends
can pause this.
with a
Okay,
big
cool.
boxer
Even better.
dog
My
by the
fault.
name of Chopper.
So, Yaki Doodle sounded like this, you know?
Which is,
Let me
it's
full
in
screen,
the,
y'all.
it's
Let
in
me
the
full
Donald
screen.
family, but I
That
can't
is
quite
crazy.
pitch it up as high as it needs to be for Donald. So I gotta give shout outs to the guys that do it right. You know. I mean, I'm in the professional club. I shouldn't make excuses for getting close. Not that close. So I think I sound like
You know, that kind of cousin or something, you know? Maybe,
That's crazy.
cousin or uncle or maybe, you know, like a stepbrother.
Everything's good. I have to make sure
I
everything
can
is
be
good.
like a stepbrother.
I'm assuming it's coming from this area because I do
Yep.
move a lot. I wish I could, but I'm.
That's Elpaka, y'all.
Well,
I'll put the link in the description.
It is. Thank you. I used to not be able to do it, but then again, when I had my issues learning how to do it, I was like 5 or 6. Because I was trying to do it, but I was doing it from the back of the throat. So my original Donald Duck was like, you know.
I guess he's going with
And
like
my
the
brothers,
Donald
being
Duck.
older brothers and doing the job that they're supposed to do, which was, you know,
Was he the
razz
voice
me
actor for Donald
mercilessly
Duck?
about it.
Is that why he's doing this? I don't
And
know.
then lo and behold, somehow it's not like I read about it. I read about it later
I don't know.
and did in fact like
I'm late to the interview.
say,
I'm
yep,
late to the
that's what I
podcast.
do.
All right.
And it was how Clarence Ducky Nash did the original Donald Duck. And of course, for me, the interesting thing about it is a few years ago, I was doing a video game. I was doing some work for Heroes of the Storm from Blizzard. And I was doing basically an infested version of this character right here, Tackus J. Finley, who perhaps some of the folks watching your podcast may know. So they asked me to do an infested version and did this thing that basically tore up the back of my throat. But when you play the game, that's me. That's not a computer. That's me. So I lost my voice. And I went home and I had to communicate with my wife that evening and the next morning. And the way I was able to do this, because when you do, the sound is coming from here. Right. It's coming from the air going through that area, not so much your vocal cords. So I kind of drove my wife
insane,
just shy of being criminally insane.
But it worked.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't work as far as driving her criminally insane, but it did work as far as communicating.
Right. Okay, yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about your roles. Let's go ahead and start with
you're in charge, Liz.
Says you're in charge.
Let's go ahead and start about the anime base. One of my favorite, once again, is Madara. He played, of course,
Madara,
a villain on.
You already
Naruto.
know.
How did that role, or how did you manage to become him?
Well,
that's a loaded question.
You know, it started by listening to the original Japanese voice actor. I'm always afraid I'm going to mispronounce his first name, so I just refer to him as Mr. Uchida. That is his name, and of course, Uchida playing Uchiha. You kind of Anyway, he was great. He was fantastic, and to me, he kind of like oozed confidence, and I mean, to a supreme level. Like, confidence in his knowledge, confidence in his abilities, confidence that he knew better than everyone else.
Hey, he played that,
and
though.
To me, that just bled through, and it was just I didn't want to make it arrogant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't want to make it quite like that, but I did want it to be powerful and perhaps just a touch condescending.
Yeah.
I see. And you did a really good job. You played his voice wonderfully. Like, he's
Team Uchiha.
probably one of my favorite.
It's my favorite.
Or,
the best Uchiha.
Villain wise. But I do
I
want
say
to
he's
also
a
ask you,
villain.
you have a range.
Yeah.
He is a villain.
You have a really wide range because
I do.
you can play Madara, but then you can turn around and play Hawkman on Digimon. How did you enjoy playing that role? You did have multiple.
Oh, please. Talk about arrogant characters. Oh my. Well, Hawkman was a lot of fun, I brought every bit of. He was sort of Jiminy Cricket without keeping his ego in check. We'll just say that, But,
hold on, let's see if I can get my quality a little bit better. Oh, dang.
20 years later, I've imbued him with just a little bit more snobbery.
Oh, dang. Oh, snap. All right, y'all, hold on one second. I don't know. I guess it's just like that.
It's amazing. And also, you played a lot of games. One game that I know for a fact that you played or you voiced on was League of Legends. Now, I do want to go ahead and
you tend to grow, if I may, you do tend to gravitate toward my rather arrogant roles, don't you?
For real, though. She's toxic.
I don't know why.
She's toxic.
I just love the role. I think that's what it is.
You toxic, bro.
Liz. Whatever it is that you enjoy, it's quite all right.
And I enjoy you for being this person because if you have these people. But yeah, I actually just started playing League of Legends.
So you toxic, bro. Just say it. You toxic.
So it was actually amazing that I seen you. I was like, whoa, because I did know your roles for anime, because that's what I strictly watch. And I play a lot of video games. So I was just like, this is actually amazing. And I knew of you because of Madara, but some roles when I did my research, I did not know you played. Even on Bleach, I didn't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't know that either. And I'm like,
it's amazing.
I'm looking. I'm like, dang, he played like a lot of people.
Doing what you do because
but
you would have them. So with that being said, do you have like a favorite role, like gaming? Because I know you did Power Rangers 2 at one point. Do you have like a favorite?
I go all the way back to Mighty Morphin.
Yeah, I also seen that you did some of the you were a I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Narrator? Yeah, you were a narrator in Power Rangers as well. Did you enjoy that role?
Well, narrator was like something that kind of got passed around, it was kind of, previously on. And I'm pretty sure when I was the narrator, it was probably during Lightspeed Rescue because I voiced one of the main villains, Diabolico, who, by the way, in the Power Ranger universe, Diabolico does hold a very, very special place in that lore. Which, of course, every time I see those Power Rangers, I remind them of it. Not too much of a spoiler because at this point, the show's been out for over 20 years. But at the end of the season, it's not the Power Rangers that save Mariner Bay, their hometown in that season. It's Diabolico. The villain is the hero.
Always. And is it harder to do is it harder to voice gaming than it is acting on animes or TV shows?
Well, each one has its inherent difficulties. When you're doing original animation like Voltron, for instance, or Bunnicula, we record hopefully together or as much of the cast as possible,
Right.
and then they'll animate to that. So it does leave a little bit more open to the moment in the booth, the performance, which may then affect everything else in the production. Whereas with anime, it's already animated, and you want to make sure it fits the flaps.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Video games are somewhat similar to anime in that we record those line by line by line.
Right.
We don't very often do an entire scene. And much like anime, I should say, the tendency is much like anime that we work alone in video game. There may be the occasion that you'll do a scene together, but that tends to be the exception, not so much the rule, you know? So, but, you know, and a lot of what we do is really dependent upon the director, you know, and of course the editor as well. I mean, I tell my students all the time that a bad performance can be made up of 100 brilliant deliveries. You know, you sit there and you go line by line, and if you were to listen to every line, you sit there and you salivate, and it's like, oh, that's beautiful. It's like it's like listening to a sunset. It's gorgeous. It's art. It's fabulous. And then you stitch it together in a scene, and it doesn't work.
Right. Okay.
You know, so you know, that's the interesting thing about performing anything that's recorded. Is on the one hand, it can be brilliant and then put together horribly, or it can be horrible and be put together so it seems kind of competent, you know? So the behind the scenes teams, you know, the director and the engineer and the editor, they're all so much more important than, you know, the general public tends to give them credit.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
I actually had a lot of people very excited about, you know, you in general. And, you know, I know it's so amazing. And then like I do have a lot of people wanted to also know, like, when you got into it, like what were your steps on getting into voice acting, if you don't mind me asking that?
Well, you know, here's the thing, Liz. Whenever anybody asks me about how I got into voiceover, I usually respond with a question, and that is, do you want to know because you want to know about me and my story, which is okay, or do you want to know because you want to get into voice acting yourself and it's not so much about me, which is okay too. Either one is fine.
More your story. I'd say more.
I would give a different answer depending on what people want. If people want to know about me, I'll tell them my process was pretty much listening to voices, trying dialects, doing dialects, learning to act, you know, taking improv classes, being in plays, being in musicals,
right?
And all of that led me to voiceover. A lot of the busiest and most talented voice actors in the industry, I have found, tend to have either a musical background or a live performance background, or both.
Right.
Okay? Because music really helps your ear, it helps you judge the tonality,
right.
And you're much better timing wise, which can be a huge factor sometimes with some of the stuff that you're recording. And live performance, of course, is kind of, you know, people who are improv performers or sketch performers or stand-ups, you know, they just.
I'm gonna go to the live part because I am behind.
Because we don't do voices, we play characters, and that's part of the secret. We say we do voices just to talk in shorthand, and just because that's the kind of thing people understand. But the best actors in the business don't do voices. Even if they look at a sentence and even if they just look at a sentence and go, sliced fruit, they don't do voices. Right. It's like there's a whole character right there. Just say sliced fruit, you know? So, but the other thing that I tell people if they want to know how to get in is don't worry about how I got in, because that world doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
We're talking about a world where we use reel-to-reel tape. We're talking about a world where they wanted people who would get it in 1 take, 2 takes, something like that. So they didn't have to do a whole lot of editing.
Right.
Nowadays with digital editing, it's like we can Frankenstein a good performance together. We can slice it up word by word if we have to.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And so it's different. However, another difference for people who are coming up is you have this wonderful thing, this internet.
Right.
So you can create your own outlet.
Right.
First of all, I want to say that I've always found it fascinating that voiceover is the one art that people feel like the only way that they can do it is professionally. You know? No one sits there if they want to paint a picture and goes, I'll paint a picture as soon as I have a gallery show. If people want to paint, they go to the art supply store. They get a canvas, they get brushes, they get paints, and they paint.
Yeah.
Right.
See?
If you want to dance,
So I
if you
tell
want
my
to
wife
dance,
too, I was
Liz,
like,
you
don't
can
gotta
take a
have all
dance
of this stuff.
class,
You could just
or
start.
you can go to a club and listen to some music,
it,
and you
know?
can dance. So you can get your dance on,
Right.
right? Or maybe you audition for a local musical, for your local community theater. Just because you want to dance, you're not sitting there going, I want to dance, but only when I get to Radio City as a rock cat.
Right. Like that's, you gotta start somewhere.
Right.
You know, that would make it really tough. Or if people want to act, there are plenty of people who say, you know, I want to act, but I don't want to be a professional because that's scary and it doesn't, that industry doesn't excite me, but I like my job as a lawyer, as a dentist, as a dental assistant, as a teacher, as a librarian, as whatever it is. I love being a dog walker. It's fabulous. But every now and then I want to get on stage and sing.
Right.
People don't limit themselves just to doing professional theater.
Right.
They'll audition for their local community theater, or they'll say, heck, hey Liz, let's you and me put on a show. Right?
Right.
So with voiceover, you got this beautiful thing, this internet right here. And you or any one of your friends or any one of your fans could write a drama and then get some people together and record it and put it up as a podcast.
Yeah. That is true.
You know,
that is true.
I pay money to get a subscription to a satellite radio service. And some of the things that they have on there now are full-blown radio dramas. One of the reasons that I love the human voice so much is because I grew up listening to what we called back then old-time radio shows.
Old-time radio.
Like Abbott and Costello and The Whistler and X-1 and all of these fantastic shows, which was a theater of the mind. Which I use a lot of that I developed as a kid listening to that stuff. I use that now when I'm acting it.
Right.
You know, I like when I'm doing Naruto, I mean, I'm kind of like in my head playing out the Great Hokage War.
It says Naruto,
you know, seeing
not Naruto.
How far my enemies are from me.
Hey, still
and so do I have to yell or do I get quieter? And make them listen to me.
No,
you know? And so I'm playing the movie in my head. Sometimes it's first person, sometimes it's third person where it's more distant. But for me, that helps me imagine being in that scene, in that moment. You know, for me, voice acting is just a great big giant game of pretend.
Right, like just a whole other universe. I get it.
Getting back to people who want to know about the steps to get into this, first off, I would say look up the website, iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. Don't write it down, because if you cannot remember iwanttobeavoiceactor.com, you probably don't want to be a voice actor.
That's big facts.
Yeah. I say that at conventions all the time. People like get out their pen and go, no. You're not allowed to write it down. Because if you can't remember this,
then you don't want it. You don't want it.
You got trouble.
Why you're at?
Yeah.
You don't want it.
So
that's all it is.
Use this internet. There are people on Twitter who are fans of the art form, and they put together their own groups, their own. And look, just because somebody's not professional doesn't mean they're not extraordinarily talented or extraordinarily gifted or extraordinarily good at something. It just means they haven't staked their life on this thing.
Right.
They're doing it because they love it. Does that make sense, Liz?
Yes, that makes 100% sense.
So I usually recommend use that to get a little bit of experience, to cut your teeth a little bit, because this is a tough business.
Right.
And it's tougher every day because more and more people want to get into it.
Right.
So you just gotta be determined and push. That's how I look
Put
at it.
in the work. Yeah. Put the work in.
If you want to do it professionally. On the other hand, if you just want to do it and you can pay your bills another way, then my goodness, put together an audio drama that, I don't know, 1 billion people on this dirt ball we call Earth will want to listen to.
Right.
You know why? Because it's so easy to put together an audio drama versus putting together a movie.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, I mean, the equipment that you would need, let your imagination run free. Go ahead and write the next great story like War of the Worlds, you know, and do something like that. I mean, if you want to do it, do it. It's not necessarily dependent upon pursuing it as a career. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And, you know, there's also apps too. You know, internet is definitely a big part, but there's apps where you can just do voiceovers of TV shows or cartoons that you have already seen.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely ways to do it. So, you know.
Hey, I know people have been enjoying doing fan dubs for years, and some of those performers are really very skilled.
Yeah.
You know, and some of them have gone on from the fan dubs and worked their way into professional opportunities. You know, so don't put everything in getting to Hollywood or getting to Texas or getting to New York and knocking on doors. Why don't you create something that makes Hollywood knock on your door?
Yep. And that's probably 10 times better than you having to go to them, I would think, because that means that you're being noticed and, you know, you're doing what you want to do opposed to doing something that you feel like you can't do. So,
right.
Yeah, that's really good advice. And I do appreciate you for giving that advice. So,
you're welcome.
I do want to go ahead before we go. I do, with my podcast, I like to do like games. So I made a wheel, which I will post, of course, once I edit and get this on YouTube. But I made a wheel with some of the characters you've played. And
so let me get this straight, Liz. You made a wheel of Neil.
A wheel
of Neil.
That's amazing. I made a wheel of Neil.
Are you serious? That didn't occur to you?
No, I didn't even think about that.
Wow. I mean, I was teased about that stuff all the time. My grandpa, you know, rest his soul, used to call me Neilio, the big wheelio.
On the podcast.
I did. I made a big wheel. I want to say about, I'm looking at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 characters. And basically, whichever character you get, you will voice that character with a sentence. I did get some people from like my social medias to make sentences up. So we're gonna probably do about 5. I do need to press the button and like actually turn it. So the first one you got will be,
who is it?
Here we go. You got
Is it still turning?
Theo, Attack on Titan.
Bruh.
And your sentence is, this is crazy. Why did this happen? That's not a sentence, that's a question, but you know, it's okay. This is crazy. Why did this happen?
that sounds like something I might even have to record in the next episode of Attack on Titan. So I'm hoping, Liz, that I'm not actually, you know, this isn't a spoiler.
Oh. Hopefully not.
All right, what was the line again?
It's a spoiler.
Why is... Okay, it went away, but I think it said, why is this happening? I'm sorry.
I think it was something like, I think it may have been, this is crazy. Why is this happening?
Amazing.
That was it. I forgot it too.
Right.
I forgot it too.
So the next one is
What's the next one?
Mr. Optimus Prime. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is gonna be amazing.
Let me hear this. Put the
And
Linkin
Well,
Park
these
music
two
behind
are
us.
Theo and Optimus are basically cousins.
Let's
So
say they're cousins. Oh, let me
Let's
see.
hear it.
And
Let me hear
the
it.
question is, hold on 1 second. Fortnite is the best game I've ever played.
Stop it. Stop it. Don't say that.
I'm gonna change this up.
Okay.
I'm going to give you Optimus Prime from the films, which is different than the Optimus Prime I played on television. Fortnite is the best game I or Bumblebee have ever played.
Woo!
He said I or Bumblebee
All right,
have ever
let's do two
played.
more.
I was like, bro. He said, like,
Two
I'm
more
not backing
for you.
that whole
I know
statement.
it's getting late. We have MADARA, and this is actually a storm question. So let me give you a rundown of this.
Yeah,
I have a
Uh-oh.
group where we
That's
play
us.
Ninja Storm a
That's
lot.
us.
Like when we have information, like say we have a disagreement, instead of
Beef.
arguing,
Yeah.
we hop on Storm. So
Okay.
if they want, let's see, MADARA to say
Get on Storm.
Get on Storm.
Get on Storm.
That's it.
If we beefing, get on
Get
Storm.
on Storm.
Let's hear it. Here we go.
Get on Storm.
Woo, they're gonna be so excited. for me.
So get on. Like if you don't get it, you don't get. You got to be in the group
Alright.
to get it. But
And we're gonna
Hey.
do one more.
Okay.
all right, last one. Let's see what it is.
We have Yamamoto. Ooh, whoa. Okay. And the question, actually, maybe it might be a question. Okay. And this one is,
That's what I'll say.
it froze on me.
It just froze on me.
Woo! Perfect. Thank you so much for giving me the time.
Oh no, that's the old man
get
from
to know
Bleach.
you
I'm
more
tripping. I'm
and
like,
interview
what?
You. It was a pleasure. And
Liz,
yes, sir.
Liz, thank you for making me your first.
Thank you. You're so
I'll
welcome.
History.
I'll always feel special.
You're so
History.
welcome. Oh, and are you doing any like conventions like soon or anything?
I have a couple that are planned, but of course, everything's up in the air. So.
COVID.
I think I'll be doing an appearance. We're locking it down, but I think the first weekend in March, I'll be in Arizona.
Okay.
Second weekend in March, I will be in Dallas, Texas. In April, I'm hoping to be in Gilroy, California. In May, I should be in Colorado Springs. In July, I should be in Jacksonville, Florida. And in October, I'll be back in Texas, but this time in Houston for Halloween weekend. As more stuff pops up or comes together, people can find out about it on Twitter at NEIL or Neil Kaplan voice actor on Facebook, or of course follow me
Hey,
for a lot
put
more
all
fun
this in the
on
description,
TikTok.
guys.
Yes,
all of
your
this in the
TikTok is
description.
amazing. I watched your live the other night. That's where I seen you. I was like, he's on TikTok. Oh my! I had to hop on the opportunity. I had to hop on the opportunity.
All right.
But I really do appreciate you for coming on to my podcast, and hopefully I get to see you in Dallas because that's where I am. That's going to be amazing.
Oh, cool!
Yeah, hopefully I get to see you. I'm trying to do
take
some
looking forward to it.
Yes, and that's it. Thank you guys for tuning in for EP. Once again, this was my first ever podcast episode, and hopefully you guys.
Liz,
yes.
Best of luck to you on a
Thank
very
you
long
so
run.
much. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful night, and hopefully, once again, I'll see you whenever, especially in Dallas.
See you in Dallas.
See you in Dallas. Thank you so much. You have a good night. Okay.
Good night.
That's it right there. That's it right there. Elpaka. I'll put the link in the description. Make sure y'all follow her on everything. Twitter. I think she has a Facebook. Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Twitch. I said Twitch. I don't know if I said Twitch, but Twitch again. All right, I'm gonna put all this information. I'm gonna put all this information in the description. But that's crazy. First podcast, big voice actor. Like, that's amazing. Liz, keep doing your thing. With that being said, y'all, we're gonna wrap this up, and we'll see y'all later. Y'all take it easy. Be safe out there.